We've heard all the empowering sayings over the year. You've come a long way, or you can have it all. But the pandemic has held back the women's labor force to the lowest level in 3 decades. So we thought we should embrace being a woman for what it is. We are a force to be reckoned with. We are strong and vulnerable, but man, it is messy and exhausting. And it's time we give ourselves a break. So we're starting with a powerhouse panel talking about guilt. I think a lot of us suffer from it. So I'm excited to get into this with all of you. We have CEO of Toronto Pearson Airport, Deborah Flint, superpower mom duo Cat Nat, and entrepreneur Vivian Kaye. Cat Nat, I look at your page because I instantly feel better about myself because you're putting it out there and you're saying they've been quarantining together, by the way. They've got 7 kids between them, 2 families. And I think it's important to show other women that we are all of the things. And I'm wondering if you all feel the pressure to be that perfect wife, perfect mom, perfect daughter, perfect friend, or do you just let it go?
One of the things that I feel like because I've been a mom now, we've been moms for 10 years. We have grown so much.
12, but
you know, I'm capping at 10 and I'm keeping it there.
Got
okay.
it.
I'm only 25, guys. You know, I started really early.
Your daughter's 12, but
Okay, it's
details.
fine.
Got it.
But
No
I
big
feel
deal.
like I actually have matured into not feeling the guilt as much as I used to, and not feeling the pressure to be the perfect everything. I have to say, before I had babies, I thought that I was going to be all those like 10 out of 10s. And then as time went on and 4 kids later, I realized there is absolutely no way to be perfect. And guilt is like, it's a choice that I have to actually feel before I go to bed or not. And I am proud of myself.
Well,
for what we've done.
And guilt is actually a useless emotion. It does nothing for you. And I think often we center it around ourselves and people are like, you know, I'm a bad this, I'm a bad that, when your kids and everyone else is not thinking that much about you. So we have to stop really encouraging that conversation. And we have learned through practice to let it go, and we try to change the narrative. So rather than feel so badly for traveling for work, why am I apologizing for something I love doing? Let's say, look at the time you get to spend with your dad. Isn't that amazing, that relationship you built? Because I'm away for work and I love what I do. So I am not apologizing for what I love. So it's an interesting...
What I love, and also what makes you guys have some other things you would otherwise not have if I didn't travel for work and make money.
Me, that's right.
So I feel good. Mom is good over here.
I did an article for Today's Parent about this, and the picture they used is a picture of Eva with her face in her French book, waiting for me. She'd asked me about 5 times to help her with her homework, and I was too busy on 2 calls putting out fires for the clothing line and something for work, and I kept saying, I'll be right there, I'll be right there, I'll be right there. She was asleep on her homework in the kitchen. I was just like, but I flipped it. And I said, you know what? She is learning to be a bit of a problem solver because I can't be there all the time. She's got to figure it out. And you know, and it's and that's okay, because we're trying to raise good humans, right? Good adults. And sometimes they've got to be on their own. Viv, you're another one who keeps it real. Love to follow your page and your stories. You're an entrepreneur, single mom of a 6-year-old, sweetest little boy. Tell me what it's like, and I hate the word balance, but tell me what it's like dealing with both your business and raising your son.
Girl, there's no such thing as balance. There's no such thing as balance. Like, it's really hard to be a mompreneur. Even during this pandemic, I was trying to run my business from home and doing virtual school. And that really just meant me doing 6 hours of the first grade. So it meant that I got no work done, or at least no real work done. So what I would try and do is just sort of figure out what my priorities are, right? So I would just make a list of things, now not 100 things, like just 3 to 5 things that I absolutely need to get done that day. And then I do those. And then I check them off my list. And if I can cross at least one thing off my list, then yay me.
Yes. Yes. So you keep the expectation doable and achievable. And I think that's really important for all of our mental health. We feel good if we can just check that thing off. Since I'm talking to Vivian about the career and the family, Deborah, I'd love to ask you as well. Like, how do you approach that? Do you say to yourselves, well, sometimes you're going to win, sometimes you're going to lose, and that's okay, that's as good as it gets?
To me, it's really one day at a time, being in the moment with your decision making. Always found it's a bit of give, take, and give. I reflect. I have the benefit of hindsight now, being older, and I remember a Halloween. I love holidays. I'm very sentimental. As the kids were growing up, and there was a Halloween. I had to fly to China at the midnight flight on Halloween night. So the night before, I'm busy hand making the requested homemade spider costume for my son, pricking my hands and all of that. And then, I got 1 hour in of trick or treating that night. I got to the airport and I was bawling. I was like, I can't believe I'm missing, all of the Halloween night with my kids. I felt like, look at this choice. I have to go to China for work. And, I look back on that and it was just a very real experience. But you know what? I have great pictures. My son loved his spider costume. It won the day and he got lots of candy. And I have great memories of that. It's conflict, but it also is just kind of being in the moment and working through it one day at a time.
And doing what you can. I love that, Deborah. Vivian, you've got a great quote that you use to give you some perspective. What is that?
Well, the key to juggling is knowing that, you've got 55 balls in the air, right? That's everything. But what you have to realize is that some of these balls are plastic and some of them are glass. Now, one of those plastic balls could be, crazy sock day at school or replying to an email as soon as it comes in. But a glass ball could be a dance recital or Halloween or a deadline on an important project at work. So if you drop a plastic ball, it bounces, no harm done. So the key here is to know, glass balls will shatter. So you just have to know which balls are plastic and which balls are glass and prioritize catching the glass balls.
Oh, I love that.
Right? You like that because it could be those glass balls could be career. It could be the kids. It could be your husband. That poor guy in the corner. He's waiting for you.
Oh, gosh.
I don't know. Cat Nat, I love that you guys really do live guilt-free as much as you possibly can. And you say it is all about perspective. Tell us a little bit about that, just so that we can leave feeling good about things.
Okay.
We travel, I think, a lot for work, which most moms don't often do. And a lot of people are like, how can you leave your kids for that long? And we always just thought to ourselves, like, it's an experience that builds resiliency in our children. My daughter, I signed her up for camp and she's like, but wait, I've never been without you for 12 hours. And I'm like, sweetheart, remember a year ago I used to travel all the time? She's like, that's right, Mom. I'll be totally fine. You used to go for 2 weeks. And I was like, see, I have actually given you confidence in the fact that you are okay without me being here. And I think that as moms, every night we go to bed and we beat ourselves up and we think about what we didn't do. And I think we all have to remember our children, however old they are, go to bed. I would never want to change my mom. I don't want my mom to be any different. And, she was a single working mom and did her best and worked 2 jobs. And I would never want her different. So I think we have to stop parenting in guilt, stop living in guilt, and start celebrating who we are as women and, give ourselves a high five because it ain't coming anywhere from anyone else. You know what I mean? I'm like, Nat, great job.
Good job, Kat. Good job. Great job,
Great
Deborah. Great job, Tracy.
Great job. Giving myself a pat on the back. Deborah, Cat, Nat, and Viv, so inspiring, all of you. Thank you so much for joining us and for being so candid in this conversation. We love keeping it real here on Cityline.